In this section on payables and receivables, we'll see how we can request the creation of a customer invoice and a supplier invoice. We'll see how that request is triggered automatically by steps previously in the process, such as the delivery of a product or service. Moving on from that, we'll look at how we handle the payment of a customer invoice.
The incoming payment process, known as receivables, covers the acquisition of liquid funds in a company. An incoming payment increases the cash and cash equivalents such as the cash balance or the bank balance and is utilised in the liquidity forecasting undertaken by the company. Financial documents such as invoice requests are triggered automatically by the preceding process, such as the posting of an outbound delivery document. This is another example of the benefit of a fully integrated solution. Released invoices are automatically posted as receivables in financial accounting, and an open item is created in the customer account. All operations that are relevant for financial and management accounting are booked in all set of books in parallel. This facilitates real-time reporting of an always up-to-date balance sheet or profit and loss statement. Let's have a look at receivables in the Live ByDesign system. Our energy check project is running, and I need to create an invoice request for the energy check project. Based on the way the project is set up, I could choose to invoice the customer for the project work on a timely basis, for example, each month. I could choose to invoice the customer at the start of the project or at the end of the project. In our particular case, the energy check project is a fixed price project, so I'm going to create the invoice request now. To do this, I'm logged into the ByDesign system as the sales representative, Kate Jacob. We begin by going to the Customer Invoicing Workcenter and selecting Project Invoicing, Projects. We select our project from the list and click New, Automatic Project Invoice Request. On the General tab, we can see various information, for example the account, the sales order reference, and who is responsible in our organisation. If I move to the Items tab, I can see the energy check project and I can see that it's a fixed price project. If I move to the Time and Expenses sub-tab, I can see the hours that our external consultant, Charlie, has booked against the project. Moving back to the Invoice Items sub-tab, I can then click Propose Invoice Items and select Using Sales Order Items. I use that option as it's a fixed price project and we take the price from the sales order. I'm now able to click Check, which tells me that the project invoice is consistent. I can now release the invoice request by clicking on Release. I can then click Close. Clicking Home, Overview returns me to the Home Workcenter. Having created our project invoice request, the next stage is to create the invoice. We begin by going to the Customer Invoicing Workcenter and selecting Invoice Requests. We can see here the invoice request for the energy check project. Also notice that there is another invoice request. This is for our solar boiler. This invoice request would have been created automatically when the outbound delivery document was created. We can select both of these items and then click Invoice. This will create one invoice with both items on it. At the invoicing screen, we can see general information such as the account, where the bill is to be sent to, and the payment terms. We can also see both line items. Clicking on the Items tabs brings up details about the item. Here we have the energy check project, and we can see the pricing of the project. If we click Expand All, we can see more information. Notice that the discount that we applied at the beginning of the process is still present. Moving back up, we can select the boiler, and notice again the discount is still present against this item. I need only click Release to send the invoice to the customer and automatically create an open receivables item against the customer account within the Financial Accounting module. Clicking Home and then Overview returns us to the Homework Center. We have sent our customer our invoice, and our customer has sent us payment. We now need to receive that payment into the ByDesign system. I'm currently logged into the ByDesign system as our financial accountant, Iris Green, and I begin the procedure by moving to the Receivables Work Center and selecting Customer Accounts. Before us, we see a list of customer accounts that have open items against them, and I can select our particular customer, Luxury Heating Specialists, and then click View. This shows me all the open items against their account. We can see here that there are two items, the solar boiler and the energy check project. The customer has paid in full for both items, so I can select both lines and then click Pay Manually By. Business ByDesign supports a number of payment methods, for example, electronic bank transfer. Our customer has paid by check, so I'm going to select Incoming Check. You can see here that the items the customer is paying for are listed on the screen. We can enter the details about the check here in the Payer Data section. I can select the customer's account, which would be shown on the check. I need now only enter the check number and the amount, which in this case is payment in full. And then click Post and then Close. By posting payment from our customer, we have now come to the end of the process. We have gone through a number of steps, so let's review those steps by viewing the document flow for this business process. If you remember, the document flow is a graphical representation of all the steps in an instance of a business process. We can access the document flow from this screen by selecting Show, Cleared Items, selecting one of the items, for example, Invoice, and then clicking on the document link. We need then only click the More tab to view the document flow. Here we see the document flow with the customer invoice as the focus document. To really appreciate the power of the document flow, we make the sales order the focus document by clicking on the anchor at the bottom of the sales order. If I zoom out slightly, we can see all of the steps in this business process. We started with a campaign. The campaign led to a lead, which became an opportunity, which led to a sales quote, which led to a sales order, and an outbound product delivery, invoice request, and invoice. As well as this, we had a project, a project invoice request, and an invoice. Moving across, we can see that there was a clearing and payment was allocated. We can see before us the full business process. This really does demonstrate the power of the document flow. We've mentioned previously that value chain operations that are relevant for financial and management accounting are booked into all sets of books in parallel. We can see this if we bring the customer invoice into focus and then make the screen a bit larger and then click on the booking symbol. In this particular case, the journal entry covers the posting of our customer's invoice. Almeca is an American company, and so it needs to maintain an American set of books. In addition, Almeca also needs to maintain a set of books which adhere to the International Financial Reporting Standard, and we can access this set of books here. These screens may appear the same, but they're actually for different sets of books. Business by Design includes the ability to manage multiple sets of books, with financial operations being booked into all sets of books in parallel. I can now click Close close the document view, close the customer account, and return to the Homework Center. The outgoing payment process, known as payables, covers the retirement of liquid funds in the company. Outgoing payments decrease the cash and cash equivalents such as a cash balance or bank balance and are utilised in the liquidity forecasting undertaken by the company. Supplier invoice requests are triggered automatically by the preceding process, such as the posting of an inbound delivery document. This is again another example of the benefit of a fully integrated solution. Released invoices are automatically posted as payables in financial accounting, and an open item is created in the supplier account. Value chain operations that are relevant for financial and management accounting are booked in all sets of books in parallel. This facilitates real-time reporting of an always up-to-date balance sheet or profit and loss statement. Let's take a look at this in the live ByDesign system. We have now received 2 invoices from our suppliers, and we need to enter them into the ByDesign system. I'm logged into the system as our accountant, Iris Green, and I begin this process by moving to the Supplier Invoicing Work Center and selecting Invoice Entry. Before us we have a list of purchase orders awaiting invoicing. My first invoice is from AMS Inc., so I can select it and then click New Invoice. This particular invoice was for our solar boiler. So I can enter the details from the document, such as the invoice number and the date. An invoice is related to a purchase order, and we can see the ID of the purchase order here. I need only then click Post to be returned to the main screen. I can now select the next invoice, which was from the consultant. If you remember, we purchased the services of an external consultant, and the purchase order is shown here. We purchased 32 hours, and so far the consultant has booked 16 hours against the project. If I select that line, and then click New Invoice, you'll see that the invoice is for 16 hours. It's for the time that the consultant has so far delivered. Again, I need only enter an invoice date and a document ID before clicking Post. I can then return to the Homework Center.